I emailed the guy quite a bit before and after, and he came on and he said he would not come back on again because, some people recognized who he was, evidently. But he was making a long haul. He was going into the desert in Texas. I don't know what part of Texas. I know it was out of Dallas or whatever, somewhere. And, it was late at night, and he noticed all of a sudden off of his, driver's side, side window, a light. So he's looking at it, and he sees this cow going up in the air. And he's looking, okay, and he's freaked out because he doesn't see any rope, he doesn't see any chain, but he sees this real bright light, and here's this cow going up head first up in the air. And, he said the next day he told his boss, I'm not doing any more long hauls. That's it. It scared him.
Yeah. Well, there was a case, and I wish I could remember exactly, where this happened, where the farmer, the cattle herder and his wife had helped one of his cows deliver a calf, and the calf came out. It was fine, healthy. They basically just turned their backs to check on the mother to make sure that she was doing okay. When they turned back around, the calf was gone, and they found it the next day on the other side of the pasture. And I mean, we're talking about somewhere like New Mexico or somewhere like that, where a pasture could be miles in width. They found this calf on the other side of the pasture, and it had basically been skinned. All that was left was the skin, its leg bones, and maybe its skull. So how in the world, was this thing taken away from basically right under their nose and then mutilated in such a short period of time and then carted off as far away as it was when they found it?
Well, the same way, Jim Peniston said on, when he went through that forest and he saw that craft, he had 2 security personnel with him, and they were frozen. They weren't moving. They were just like statues. And maybe they were in a time loop, time something, okay? Maybe like when this calf was born, the same thing could happen to these people. The time they checked on the, mother calf or cow they discovered it was gone, they could have been in a time, situation where time was stopped for whatever it took to take the calf and do whatever they did with it.
That is a very good point, because it seems to me, and from people that I have talked to personally, about these situations, is that whatever this phenomena is, it can operate outside of time, space, however you would want to call it. I talked to a guy one time who had a number of experiences where he would be taken from his bedroom at night by the stereotypical little gray aliens with the big black eyes. He said that he remembered one time where, and these things would come into his room and take him out, and basically they would walk through walls to come and get him, and when they took him, they would carry him through the walls as well. And so he said that while they were floating upwards to this craft, he saw people that were walking into the same apartment building that he lived in, except that everybody was frozen. He said it looked like that what was going on with him was taking place between seconds. That time was frozen, or at least to his experience, time was frozen. I mean, it wasn't literally frozen, but somehow these things were operating and taking him and other people outside of time. So I think that is at least one way that this phenomenon works, is that it is able to, as we perceive time, it's able to operate around it somehow.
Oh, I think so. That would stand for a lot of people claiming that they were abducted, right down to, well, creatures coming into their bedroom and taking them and all this stuff. And, again, like James was saying the other night, just because we have our time, our minute, our second, microsecond, our hour, to maybe something else, our hour could be nothing to them. It could be a second to them. Our year could be 10 years or 100 years to them. So, I mean, maybe then they have maybe the ability to, stop time too, as we know it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it could be also that, that they are able to, move so fast that they would be just completely unperceivable to us. It reminds me of an old Wild Wild West episode where like the villain was a scientist that had invented I think it was a drug that he could give himself and his henchmen that enabled them to move so fast that most people would just hear like a slight buzzing as they, zoomed back and forth and, did their nefarious deeds. So, I mean, it could be something just as simple as that you're dealing with something that is able to move so fast that, we wouldn't have any perception of their world. I mean, it could be, these things that we are calling aliens and extraterrestrials. It could be something that lives right here on the planet with us, but operates on a time frame that's completely different than ours,
or in another dimension. And we don't even realize it because they wouldn't exist to us. I mean, there's a lot of speculation on this stuff, but again, I don't know if that would make, the UFOs, cover the UFOs. I think there's, again, there could be multiple things going on here, not just all aliens and, UFOs. I think it could be several things playing here, but whatever it is, it's scary when you really think about it. And does our government know what's going on? And but again, if they know what's going on, they're certainly not going to tell us. And that's the scary part. And again, these abductions don't seem to stop. I mean, I don't know, you do a show. I don't know how people coming to you wanting to come on. I don't know how many people you get on that contact you and say, hey, I was abducted and wants to come on your show. I get a lot. And I try screening them the best I can because otherwise I'd be talking about abductions every single night with about 10 people a night.
Well, I would say that the majority of people who are experiencers really don't want to talk about it. Because of, their family, their friends. If they do dare tell anybody about it, most of the time they're going to be either laughed at or looked at like they're crazy.
Oh yeah. Now we gotta take a break here. Again, it's going on the top of the hour, so we're going to take a break. We'll be back about 5 minutes after the hour. So you got enough time there, Tim, to get a cup of Java or whatever. One person you need to contact, and if you don't know how to do it, is Terry Lovelace. You need to get him on your show and talk to him. Seriously.
All right, I'll do that.
And if you don't know how to get a hold of him, I got his email, I got his phone number. We're going to have him on here again before Christmas for 4 hours. And every time we've had them on for like 2 hours, 3 hours, the time just goes by, and we just can't get enough information out because it's so in depth about what happened. So anyway, we'll be back in about 8 minutes. You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark.
Do you have a paranormal story you want to share on Night Dreams Talk Radio? You could be a guest. Email us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com.
Night Dreams Talk Radio Network brings you the World Paranormal News with James Creechbaum. Now, the latest news.
I'm James Creechbaum with the Paranormal and World Changes News. Alien life will be found within the next few decades, claims a NASA study. A NASA-backed study proposes that a 126 antennae array observatory be established on the far side of the moon that would scan the sky and look for habitable planets capable of sustaining extraterrestrial life. The Farside Array, which stands for Farside Array for Radio Science Investigations of the Dark Ages and Exoplanets, would scour the sky for planets having a magnetic field like our own, which is considered a key ingredient for planetary habitability, as well as looking for gases and other biosignatures, indicating the presence of alien organisms. Also, residents are puzzled by 40 UFOs over Cornwall, England. People in and around Truro, England couldn't believe their eyes when they looked skyward that morning. There was over 40 of them witnessed by UFOs witnessed by several people in and around the Truro area. Nothing else has been confirmed about what it could be, and investigation is still going on that. Also, UFO photographed over Rivadavia, Argentina.